From intense heat to strong storms to new severe weather outlooks and some areas of concern in the tropics, we've got a lot to track this week, and it starts with what's going on here across the southeast. Hi, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Justice, keeping you posted along the way. We've got an area highlighted here by the National Hurricane Center, watching that on our satellite imagery. Plus, we're looking at new risks issued for the southeast for the potential of strong storms going into our Monday. So let's help you get prepared with what's coming our way this week, what you need to be aware of timing-wise. And as always, I will keep you up to date with anything severe. If you're new to this channel and appreciate a no-nonsense approach to weather, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. It's the best way to stay informed. And my approach, as always, is to give you an early warning of what's coming down the pipe. The big story, in fact, the most dangerous part of the story, can oftentimes be labeled as the boring side of the story. And heat. You know, heat indices are one of the most dangerous things that can happen in weather. Heat and flooding are sometimes back and forth with the number one and number two greatest threat for weather. And in this case, you've got heat advisories from Central Florida, almost every single county of South Carolina, and then eastern North Carolina, all the way up towards Charlotte, and then a big portion here across the central United States under heat warnings or heat advisories. Big time heat and humidity surging in, and it does not look like it's going to be letting up as we get to see the last half of July is going to be above normal. And what that means is we are typically hot in July. It's normal to be hot, but this is saying we're going to be above normal. So normal's hot, we're going to be hotter, okay, whatever word you want to use for it. Look at this big ridge settling in across the southeast. This is also helping steer the storm flow, the storm current, and many of us are going to stay dry. An isolated storm may help you cool down a little bit, but the vast majority of us are going to be dry as this ridge is just locked into the East Coast going into next week. Look at this. This ridge may even grow a little bit. This is the 24th, 25th, 26th. Beautiful sunny days. If you got pool or lake plans or ocean, beach plans, no problems other than some pop-up storms. It's just going to be really, really, really hot. Highs, if they're normally around 92, 93, are going to be closer to 100. It does look like toward the turn of the month, going into the first few days of August, that ridge may retrograde a little bit back toward the Rockies, which means we may, in fact, be a little more stormy and active. Let's look at what that means. The heat indices today are in the lower to mid 100s, 107s, 108, certainly common in many areas down towards Central Florida, 108, 109. Tomorrow looks to be the hottest day. Let's see this revamp back up, and there's a key. Late at night. Check this out. Here's 11 o'clock. Feels like 93 in Columbia, 99 in Charleston, 100 in Isle of Palms. I mean, we're talking about 11 p.m. temperatures, feeling like close to 90 to 100 degrees. That constant stress on the body is what makes heat waves so dangerous. Look at tomorrow afternoon. We get into 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock. You got some 110s showing up, some 111s showing up. This is some very intense heat. Tuesday is by no means cool. It's just kind of shifting a little bit more to the west as that big ridge kind of goes back and forth. Now with this, it's not going to be widespread because we have high pressure over us, but with this does come a new risk for severe weather. That's been issued for East Tennessee, North Georgia, all of South Carolina, and most of North Carolina here. Now there will be some thunderstorms across Florida, Louisiana, but these areas are going to see the bulk of them. And we can map that out with a brand new high resolution model. Let's show you what it is showing. This is called the NAM. It's done well with storms here lately. Let's map this bad boy out as we go into Sunday afternoon, evening. Here we are. We had some storms. We're continuing to see those simmer down tonight. The flow out of the northwest, though, we could have some overnight downpours, but the better chance is going to be 1, 2, 3 o'clock. Look how some storms form first in the mountains of North Carolina, North Georgia, Atlanta, and then they shimmy on down toward the south and the upstate of South Carolina, rocking and rolling 4, 5, 6, 7 o'clock. Some of these could be strong to severe, and then we simmer things down. Look at that big impulse going through Central Florida. This could be all the way into Tuesday morning. Could have some overnight into Tuesday morning storms. Same thing Tuesday night could get round 2 of some storms. So a hot and stormy pattern across the southeast to kick off our week. And then we have to pay attention to what's going on in the tropics. 2 areas to watch, one close to home I've been showing you, and then another out here to sea. Now this particular wave is showing signs of weakening. It's entering a more hostile environment. But there are also 2 other waves right behind it that may indeed have a better chance at formation. Let's show you what's going on our satellite imagery. You can see here we've got the Lesser Antilles right here. You've got this wave that honestly is struggling. It's got plenty of moisture with it. It's just not very organized. We'll have to watch it. It's not even really warranting an invest just yet. As we look back toward the east, though, there's a secondary wave and a third wave that are honestly a little bit more beefy. Okay, so what do those do in the days to come? We'll map out the models here in just a second. But let's look closer to home. Look at this big slug of moisture coming off the Carolinas and the storm track around that big ridge. Some of that storm activity is going to get into the Atlantic here. And you leave moisture or activity alone for a long enough period of time, it has the potential to curl up and form into a low pressure. One thing's for sure, it looks like going into midweek, Florida is about to get tropical moisture all over again. Is it organized into a tropical storm or a tropical depression? Maybe not. But the models here have been hinting that we need to stay dialed in on that. So let's map out that threat. Look what happens as we see that storm activity splash down in the Atlantic. All of a sudden, you got a 10 to 20% chance of a tropical formation. This is the European run. It's showing down here lower chances now for the Lesser Antilles with that particular wave that's highlighted now. Kind of coincides with that 10% to 20% chance the National Hurricane Center's been highlighting. That's what the European shows as well. But look what happens as we map this out in time toward midweek. That area, you got 2 waves. One's going away from the United States. Might get a Dexter name from something that's going away and never really impacts anyone. But this little wave right here is going to curl back down and go toward Florida. Just like last week, you'll get some waves of rain and storms that roll in from the Atlantic toward Florida and spill into the Gulf. So this is now Thursday morning. We've got this low-end chance of something trying to curl up here across the Gulf with this big ridge, kind of following that. You've got something going away. You've got this weak wave that looks to give some tropical downpours to the Lesser Antilles, the Windward and Leeward Islands, basically St. Martin down toward St. Vincent. I mean, we're not looking at a lot of rain, but certainly tropical moisture coming in. Got a little area to watch in the southern parts of the Caribbean. And then you've got a really strong wave that's come off of Africa, the one I just showed you a minute ago. Does it form and then kind of fizzle out? Possibly. So let's map this out a little bit further. Here we go. All right, now we're getting some better evidence. Okay, so about a 10, 20, maybe even 30% chance of this thing curling back around. Remember, there's a high right in here, basically over Tennessee. So all the storm track is around that. So you keep that storm track active. It's like a train track for storms to be able to try to roll up and over some areas. And that could lead to a couple of areas that get some formation here. And then you go back over here toward the lower parts of the Caribbean. Got a high chance, 50% or greater. That would go toward Central America. We'd have to watch that. All right. Then we've got a couple of waves out here. That first wave, not really doing it. It's probably the Renegade. It's going out ahead. It's kind of moistening up the atmosphere, but hostile ingredients are probably going to chop that one away. But the ones that are subsequent following it, late this week into this upcoming weekend, could have some formation. So simply put, toward the end of this week, we could have a couple of different areas to watch and track in the Atlantic as tropical moisture in one way, shape, or form is heading toward Florida and the Gulf states. And then you've got another couple of areas to watch in the Atlantic basin. So what do the models show? GFS has shown a little bit of low pressure trying to crop up here and there toward late week, but nothing really of substance. Got a little evidence of a low pressure here over Louisiana, almost identical to what we had this week with a tropical wave, maybe just a little weaker and more disorganized. Not really anything popping off here until you get into next weekend. Do we have a little low trying to go toward the Lesser Antilles? GFS is showing, maybe, but nothing that's too worth getting worked up over. All right, so the GFS does show plumes of moisture. Look at that tropical wave right there, right here, right here. All right, so three areas to watch, and then, of course, that area in the Caribbean, which is always a hot spot. Look at that moisture across the southeast. Again, tropical moisture, especially Tuesday and Wednesday, look to be stormy and wet across Florida. From Cedar Key to Tampa to Central Florida to Daytona Beach, even as far south as Miami, it'll be quite stormy Tuesday and Wednesday with that tropical moisture overhead. Then it spreads into the Gulf, and that's when Destin, Panama City could get in on some bigger storms and heavier rain. It's going to spread west toward Louisiana again with additional heavy downpours. Looks like it tries to go over central Louisiana, back up around that ridge of high pressure, and recycles the thing back over again. But again, a couple of different waves. Now pay attention to the Lesser Antilles. Watch this as I rewind it. All right, main development region just certainly giving us more action to track. Look at these different waves that come through. That one looks a little stronger on the GFS. This would be a week from today, next Sunday. And does it curl into something? Yeah, right in there, possibly. South of Puerto Rico. Do we have a tropical storm, tropical depression? Maybe. Have to watch that. And additional waves back toward the east. How about the Icon model? It's been pretty good this season and last season at sniffing out early possibilities. This is the moisture and kind of the spin in the atmosphere. Again, got a little wave here Tuesday. That's our secondary wave. It has a little better chance here on the Icon model. Got some more moisture, and it does have a little spin up here across the Gulf. Watch this. That moisture comes in from the Atlantic around that. There's the high pressure. Really well depicted here by the Icon. Storm track is around that. Notice it comes in right here. That moisture streams in from the Atlantic side to the Gulf and tries to curl up right in there over Louisiana. This one's a little further out to sea, so it has a little stronger chance, curling back up in an identical fashion to last week. And then it gets us into next weekend. So simply put, we've got to stay dialed in on it, folks. And simply put, we could have more action to watch about a week from now in the tropics. So I will keep you posted on all things tropical. But the big story across the southeast this week, we've got tropical moisture. Wrong way. Tropical moisture heading toward Florida Tuesday, Wednesday. And we've got intense heat Monday and Tuesday all across the southeast. We're talking heat indices close to 110. And with that does come a new risk of severe weather for western North Carolina, the upstate of South Carolina. We'll have to watch, see if that gets upgraded to a level 2. There are certainly the ingredients there and plenty of humidity and heat to fuel those storms. Just wanted to help give you an update on what you can expect for your work week here, folks. If you appreciate this style and you're new to the channel, please consider liking this video in the comments section. Let me know where you're watching from. That helps me out, and I enjoy just reading your comments as to where in the world you're at. And as always, new severe threats come down. I'll be the first to let you know as we get through a hurricane and severe season and eventually into wintry season. That seems like a really far distance away, but I'll take it at this point as hot as it is. Have a good week, everybody.